All right. Hey guys, we are on with Joanna today. Joanna, thank you so much for taking the time to speak with me today. It's so great to have you on. I'm going to ask you just a few questions, and our goal here is to give other agents out there just some valuable insight into how to be successful selling and prospecting for Medicare. So tell us who you are, the name of your company, a little bit about what you do and why you love it.
Thank you for having me today. My name is Joanna Wyckoff. I am the Vice President of NationCare Insurance Services. We are what you call a BGA or tiny baby FMO. We're domiciled in Florida, but we work nationwide with agencies nationwide. My job over at NationCare is to train agents and also bring new talent in. So if anybody's looking for a new home, call me. But I love training agents and teaching them how to do their job, because I know what it's like when you first finish the AHIP and the carrier certifications and you don't know what to do next. And a lot of agents are like, okay, what's my next step? How do I get in front of the customer? Because getting in front of the customer is actually the hardest part in the insurance world. It's how do I get a customer to sit down with me, right? If you can get someone to sit down with you, 90% of the job is already done. So we focus on teaching agents how to get the customer. I have agents who own call centers and they do live lead transfers. I have agencies who buy data lists from ProspectBoss and they do outbound cold calling for Medicare supplements. We have agents who buy direct mail leads. We have agents who buy Facebook leads. We have agents who set up tables at events like grocery stores and doctor's offices and food banks. So like there's so many ways to prospect in this arena. It's just a little bit of everything works, right? So if you're doing something and you add something else to it, you'll get a larger audience. What was the other question? Why I love it. So I feel like I get to help people change their lives, like my life was changed. A lot of us come from the corporate world where we're attached to somebody and they have to tell us when we get to go to lunch and if we can take vacation. And I was a federal worker at Social Security for almost 10 years. I loved my job. Most of it. I didn't love getting screamed at all day, but but one of the problems was I couldn't go on vacation if somebody else of a higher seniority had that time already scheduled off.
Right.
I remember after I quit, after 9 Christmases, I finally got to go home for Christmas to my family in New York, because I had always had to work on Christmas Eve because everybody who had been there for 20 and 30 years was always off. Right.
Oh, yeah.
And and so becoming self-employment is not for everybody, but it's certainly rewarding if you have the drive to do so. I love being able to control my own life, my own day-to-day, and then also have a renewal income where I have basically you're my own retirement plan, you know. I was just talking to an agent yesterday. And she got licensed in May. I'm so proud of her. She got licensed in May, started selling at the end of June, and from July till the end of September, she enrolled enough people to have a monthly renewal of $3,000 a month this year.
Wow.
And so it's life changing to a lot of people. $3,000 a month renewals before you wake up and go to work is a big thing. You know, that's a mortgage for a mortgage and all their household bills for most people, right? And so we get to change people's lives, you know. In most corporate America, the only way to get ahead is to work more hours or to do something unique, right? And you're making money for somebody else and you're giving up time for money and like you're giving up time with your family and your kids and everything. So I love the insurance world because I can make as much today as most people make all week or in 2 weeks, right? So I love the insurance world and I get to help people who don't otherwise get the help. So Medicare is what I specialize in, and it's so confusing, especially to somebody who's just getting awarded disability or someone who's turning 65. They're getting bombarded with all this mail and they don't know the difference and they don't know which one is right for them. and then in steps me. And usually it's not if I'm helping them, it's what I'm helping them with.
Right.
They're usually just so grateful. My parents are both 68, and they're still getting bombarded, and they're like, I don't know what this is. Joanna, can you read my mail? you know, and most seniors have anxiety. We were talking about anxiety earlier in sales. Most seniors have anxiety from just the mail coming to their mailbox
Oh, yeah.
because they don't understand it, right? So if I can relieve anxiety from someone who doesn't know if they're making the right decision, then it just betters my feeling of, I kind of feel like Medicare is like an extension of community service for me, because it's helping people get something that they need, not something that they don't need. Like, I'm not selling them a blender or anything, right? I'm
Right.
I'm helping them choose their health insurance that they need, right? So that's why I love it. I get to see people, see agents, and help people make life-changing choices.
That is awesome. I love your outlook on it. It's not just a job, it is fulfilling and it is
Mhm.
amazing, and the getting to set your own hours and schedule your life around everything else is, I know that is, really beneficial for anybody, but, you know, parents and I mean, anybody really, but, you've got a soccer game.
Mhm.
Okay. Well, you can schedule an appointment for after that. You don't have to set it.
Mhm.
You don't have to be working right at that moment. So
Right.
that's, that aspect of being your own boss is really freeing.
Mhm. I have a gentleman. He works full time during the day, father of 5, and he does Medicare at night. And his goal is to get enough renewals so hopefully next year he can walk away from his day job and have enough renewals saved up so his wife isn't like stressing him, but like he can set his own hours. I mean, he can work evenings if he wants to, weekends, during COVID changed how the world really does business. A
Definitely.
lot of parents were at home with their kids, micromanaging the kid on the laptop on Zoom and doing sales at the same
Terrible.
time or after Zoom, after you're done yelling at your kid for, turning out their camera, they were doing sales and stuff, so it's a great way to, still prosper and everything, I believe.
All right. So let's talk about how prospecting in particular can help with Medicare sales. So you mentioned, working from home and making those calls and even doing so in the night or in the night hours. So do you do any kind of prospecting? Or I know you manage other agents. So,
Mhm.
do you have agents that do like outbound calls and whatnot?
Yep. So our agents, I mean, I don't micromanage and tell them how to run their business, but if however they want to run their business, we help them do so, right? So some of them are, let's say they ran out of direct mail, they might get a data list from ProspectBoss or something and call for Medicare supplements and send text messages trying to get people who never answer the phone, right?
Yep.
I know that's a big thing, is like a lot of people stopped answering the phone now, so we're sending text messages and emails, right?
Yes.
And you had mentioned the video feature, and I really need to get over my shyness of being on the camera and just send video messages. So I think if someone met me, they'd be like, "Oh, I want to work with her."
Right.
And that's really a really cool feature of what you guys have. So prospecting, your marketing might not come through. We had a big delay with mail in the fourth quarter because of elections, and I still had a delay
Right.
in January because of elections. So a lot of agents were looking for different alternatives because I had always done direct mail and face to face. Like I have a kiosk in a doctor's office and a kiosk at Walmart, But when COVID happened, a lot of places were like, we don't want anybody here that doesn't have to be here. And the mail was not coming back. So we were like, okay, how do we get agents leads? How do we get them people to talk to, right?
Right.
And so calling data lists for, anything but Medicare Advantage and prescriptions, you know, is a good way to talk to people and drum up business. You know, you can't be afraid to pick them to the phone. They're not going to chew you out or eat you through the phone, right? The worst case scenario is they tell you to go to hello and you know, they tell you not to call back or whatever, but like they're not going to do anything, you know, they're not going to choke you through the phone if they don't want your help. You know? And I think that was the hard thing for me to get over, is, you know, a lot of us don't come from sales backgrounds. We come from like policy backgrounds. So, you know, learning that people are just people, you know, they're no better or worse than you are, you know. So prospecting, if you can use a system to track your prospecting, like you guys have, is phenomenal, because a lot of people, they only call their lead once. And I noticed this when I transferred leads to agents, I only saw the leads being worked once. And then they were like, oh, I'm out of leads. I'm like, did you call the lead back? Like, if I don't answer at 10 o'clock in the morning, doesn't mean I don't want to talk to you, just means I didn't answer at 10 o'clock in the morning, right?
Right. Run that campaign again at 3 in the afternoon, see if that works better.
Right. Especially for a lot of 65-year-olds for Medicare are still working during the day. So if you talk to somebody, if you don't talk to somebody at 10 o'clock in the morning, it's maybe because they're still working. You know, maybe they have a 9 to 5, maybe calling them at 6 o'clock at night or on a Saturday, right? So yeah, managing your prospecting, a lot of times you have to prospect at different hours of the day to talk to somebody. Maybe they're an overnight nurse, right? So there's just
they're not going to pick up at 10 a.m. because they're sleeping.
Exactly. Or maybe they're a school teacher teaching kids, you know. So there's so many different avenues, but the continuous prospecting, we talk about filling the pipeline. So I have people that I was talking to yesterday who don't turn 65 until August and September. So obviously I'm not writing them today, all right, because I'm a little too far out, but I'm lining them up to write them in June, right? September, yeah, so August, July, June, yep. So always continuously calling and just getting over the anxiety of the phone, I think, is what a lot of people need to do. Maybe they need to talk to your friend, the therapist that was on the call the other day. I think that's what a lot of agents do, is they get wrapped around the anxiety of who they're calling. And, you know, it's funny, Celeste, when I was a brand new agent, I would look at the lead and I would analyze the lead before I would even call it. And I just, and this is like for like life insurance, I would analyze and see what I was already what I needed to know to sell them. And you don't need to do that. You just need to get them on the phone, you know?
Yeah, they'll tell you everything you need to know.
Right. And they'll tell you how you can help them, you know? A lot of times when I call somebody like, oh yeah, I need help with, like yesterday, someone gave me, I need help finding help with my Otezla. I mean, that told me exactly what their problem was, right? And so I think just continuous prospecting and having a system in place. And I think most agents who fail out of the industry fail because they don't have a system in place. They don't have prospecting in place, right?
Those money-making activities on a continuous basis. I love that term, money-making activities, because it's, you know, you're doing something consistently that, you know, it might not help you today, but it might help you next week or next month. And are you willing to give up that possibility of, you know, writing a policy next month because you had an off day or just didn't feel like making the calls? So, you know, it's kind of a long-term thing, but you have to make those, you see it everywhere now. It's just call the damn leads, you know, just call them. Are you willing to give up the possibility of not having that policy in a month? You know, it's kind of a trade-off. It's not instant gratification, but it is something that will pay off if you do it consistently.
Indeed.
So there was something you said. Oh, the anxiety of making the call. So I think anybody who is brand new at
Mhm.
selling over the phone,
Mhm.
even if you're, if you're a month into it, you still might have anxiety when you pick up that phone for the first time for the day.
Mhm.
When I started years and years ago, I was actually inbound, not even
Okay.
outbound sales, but I did inbound customer service, but my whole entire job was to upsell.
Mhm.
So I was terrified. We did 8 weeks of intensive training, and I was terrified when I got on that call floor. And my first call, as soon as I answered the phone, they hung up. So that was a dud first call. It didn't get my jitters out at all. That second call, the guy cussed me out for 2 hours. 2 hours. My supervisors would not take over the call. They would not let me get off the phone. 2 hours. I was in tears forever. And it took me a long time to get back on that phone, to get that next call, because I was just terrified. The anxiety
Mhm.
of it got in my head and I just could not get
Mhm.
over it.
Mhm.
It took a long time. And so, anytime someone says, I'm really nervous about making that call. I'm really nervous about, what are they going to say, or how are they going to react, or, you know, whatever the issues might be. It really does help though to just get on the phone.
Mhm.
The more you do it, the more comfortable you're going to be with it, and the less you're going to feel that anxiousness first thing in the morning.
Mhm.
So, that it definitely helps to just have some practice,
Mhm.
you know?
Practice. I think mindset is also a key. I had to learn, Celeste, that when someone was calling me, especially when I worked at Social Security, which a lot of people don't like Social Security, so sometimes they feel like, we're not doing our job. They weren't approved for disability or fast enough, and they call in and they're calling the company. They're not calling Joanna, who they feel like I messed up something. They're calling
Right,
Social Security because something is affecting them and they're mad, but they're not mad at the person answering the phone.
right,
I equate it to somebody calling the internet company when the internet's out, right? I'm
right,
not mad at the customer service person who's answering the phone, the poor little person. I'm mad that the internet's out and I have work to do.
right,
And so I think just taking the anxiety and realizing if someone screams at you or calls you some not so nice names, they're not calling Celeste or Joanna the name. They're just mad at the day, at the phone.
yeah,
A lot of people have other issues going on in their life, and we just happen to
absolutely.
catch the hands, right?
Hmm.
And it took me a while to realize that, hey, when people are calling saying, "Don't ever call me again," they're just having a bad day because somebody didn't give them their Cheerios that morning, or their medication. you know, they're just mad. Maybe 20 people called them before for an extended warranty. I don't know.
Uh-huh.
You know, they're just mad at the day. It's not Joanna that they're mad at because they don't know me to be mad at me, right?
Right.
And so it took me a while to realize, hey, they're not mad at me because they don't know me to be mad at me. They're just mad about their day, about something else has nothing to do with me. But they
Yep.
still need my help and they still want my help once they realize who I am calling them.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
I whenever I call customer service, that whether it's Amazon or Verizon or whoever it may be, if I'm upset about something, I always preface it, especially, oh my gosh, I had an issue with Verizon recently, and I had to call them over and over and over and over again to get, my issue resolved. And so every time someone would answer the phone and I was progressively getting more and more aggravated, finally, the last girl I talked to, I said, I just want you to know that I am extremely upset right now, but I know it's
Mm-hmm.
not your fault. And
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to try to be very civil with you. So if you can help me, fantastic. If not, please find me someone who can.
Mm-hmm.
And, the fact that I didn't scream at her
Mm-hmm.
or get upset and make it all about her. It went very smooth, and she was able to resolve the issue. So I do try to, being in that position before where I'm taking calls from people who need something or are upset about something, it's very beneficial to take the personal aspect out of it.
Yeah. Be like, hey, I was just trying to get back to you. You sent in this request,
Right. Exactly.
Don't shoot. It's so funny. But yeah, I think once you get over that and realize that whoever is going to say no at the other end, they're not saying no to Joanna. They're just saying no, something else is distracting me right now. I can't make a decision.
Right.
Can't make a decision on that right now. So I'm just going to say no.
Yeah.
And that once I learned that, my life changed, my sales changed,
Yeah. I have you can't see it, but I have a actual sticker, a decal on my wall that says, don't take it personally.
Right.
Because before I was doing, these interviews and managing, kind of our marketing department, I was doing the accounting department. So people would call in and talk to me about their billing issues. And, on occasion, there would be something that we messed up because we're human.
Right.
But of course, when you're talking about people's money, they get very upset, and understandably so. And so, there have been a couple that I've spoken to over the years that have just reamed me a new one. And so I have this sticker up there that says, don't take it personally, because it's not me.
That's right. You to make the error. And one thing I try to tell people, especially coming from Social Security world, is no one intentionally went into a computer and made your check disappear or caused you to have a delay. Computer issues happen too. As long as you don't scream at me, I'm going to try to fix it.
Right.
Yeah. I get it. People are people too, I mean, everybody has things going on. I've talked to so many people and they've had so much devastation in their life, and you wonder how they're still functioning.
Right. There's a saying that I see quite often that's, be kind to everyone because you don't know what they're struggling with at the moment. And it's so true, because I've had people, that same situation. I've had people, just give me side eyes because I'm aggravated about something, and we're all just going through something at any given time.
Indeed.
So let's get back to Medicare sales. Now that we've gone on a tangent about calls. There are so many different ways to prospect. So, you've mentioned calling, texting, recording a video. You've mentioned direct mail. There are so many different ways to do it. And, I see all the time people say, what's the best way to prospect, or what's the best CRM to use? And the answer is always the one that you use, the one that you actually put the work into. So, but you need to find the one that works for you, because, making phone calls might not work for you, but sending a text and an email might, or, text messages might not work for you, but making a call might, or sending out a piece of mail. It's what are you wanting to accomplish, your goals, and, what is going to work for you. And a lot of times if you put different methods, in a combination, that's going to help a lot more. You mentioned, well, if you make the calls, but then someone doesn't answer, and so you send them a text message, that might work better for, and even for that person, because I know that I would probably respond to a text message before I would answer the phone.
Me too. And it's my phone. But that if you're in a meeting, you can politely respond to a text versus interrupting somebody to answer a phone call, right?
Exactly. Yep. And making those multiple outreaches, in our system, for every prospect profile you have, it shows you the entire contact history with that person. So if you called them and then 2 weeks later you called them again, and then you sent them a text message, and then you sent them an email, that entire history for all of that is going to be listed in your contact history for that person. So you can see if that person's been called again. You know, if I have a really great graphic that I put together with, you know, this percentage of agents don't follow up at all, but 80 something percent of sales are made between the 5th and 12th contact.
Indeed, indeed.
So if you're not following up, you're just leaving money, just sitting there and letting 100%. It go to somebody else who will do the follow-up.
100%. That used to be, someone would be like, don't call me. Okay. Or call me back tomorrow, and they call back tomorrow, they didn't answer. And then like, well, they must not want me. Once again, like internal reflection. Well, they just forgot. You know, they're just busy, right?
Yeah.
So I like the fact that your system tracks that, and you can see what they might respond to. Okay, they're not responding to the phone, or they're not responding to the phone at this time. So let's change the time, right?
And there's also tracking in our system. So like if they click on the email that you send, or like open it, if they click on anything in the email, we have what's called the hot list. So any engagement from a lead is going to give them a score. So if they, you know, opened up your text message, it's going to give them a score. If they read your email, it's going to give them a score. If they answered your phone call, it's going to give them a score. And the higher score they have, the higher up on your hot list they are. So you know the leads that are, you know, responding, how quickly, you know, how much they're responding to the different methods. And so, you know, you always know which leads you need to reach out to again quickly, because they are responding at that time. So that is a really great tracking feature that we have that I just love.
Yeah, definitely.
So
you can predict.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
You can predict your future sales based off their interaction.
Yes. Yes. And if you use the data correctly, then it can be extremely useful for future prospecting. What advice would you give to someone who's brand new in Medicare? Brand new.
First, and I talk about this a lot, you probably have seen me say it. First, be very, very careful with who you contract with. I made the mistake of giving my Medicare contracts to a place, and I didn't know what I didn't know, right? You don't know. If you're brand new, you think that the AHIP and the carrier certification is going to teach you everything you need to know about Medicare and sales, and it doesn't. It gives you the top fraction, right? And I unfortunately contracted with a place who I had no relationship with. They didn't answer the phone. I was full-time at Social Security at the time, so I needed someone to answer the phone after 4:30 on the weekends, and that wasn't them. And I remember, like, fortunately, I found one of my broker managers several months later, and I was like, listen, I don't know how to do a presentation. Can you teach me? I don't know how to get in front of people. Can you teach me? Right. And this company unfortunately held me hostage for a year, you know, and I didn't know how to break free, how to move my contracts, because in Medicare is different than life. But it really hindered my progression, because had I been attached to the people I'm attached to now, I would have had immediate sales in 2017 instead of 2018. Right. I would have had the PTSD is what I call it, you know. So finding someone who's going to actually mentor you and answer your questions and teach you what they went through, so you don't have to repeat their struggles, right? Like, so if I give you all of my struggles, I'm telling you, kind of like a mom or a dad, I'm telling you so you don't have to repeat my struggles, right? I didn't order my leads in time. I didn't do this, right? I waited for the phones to stop you know. And so find someone that you can actually bond with, somebody that you like as a person. Because if I don't like you as a person, I'm not going to receive your training, right? So find someone that is available to train you, that you like as a person, and just soak up what they do, shadow them, and then just dive in, you know, whether it's your part-time and make a schedule on the weekend and on the evenings, or if you're full-time. We talked about this earlier, income producing hours, right? What I find is I find a lot of new agents, they're working on their business, but they're not working in their business. They're busy building websites when they're brand new and haven't made the sale, right?
Right.
Why spend $3,000, Celeste, building a website when you haven't made $1 sale and you need to go buy leads? Don't spend the money on buying a website, spend the money on leads. Spend the money on prospecting. And then once you have prospects in a pipeline, then if you need a website later down the road, invest that money. But most people, they come into the industry broke and they stay broke because they're spending their money on things that's not bringing them income.
Yep. Back to those money-making activities.
Money-making activities. So 9 to 5, what are you doing to talk to people between 9 to 5? Or whatever your business hours is. Final expense agents or mortgage protection agents have different hours. But during income hours, when people are answering the phone, what are you doing? I'm not creating videos at 9 o'clock in the morning. I'm talking seniors, right?
Right.
I'm not building a website at 10 o'clock in the morning. That's 10 o'clock at night stuff, right? That's Saturday night stuff, you know? During the day, I'm calling the carriers, calling the people, everything to generate income right then, you know, or fill the pipeline, right? So I think that's where most people go wrong, most agents go wrong, is they're, you know, looking at training videos for every carrier in the world at 9, 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock in the morning, and they should be doing that at night. You can watch a YouTube video at 10 o'clock at night. Go talk to somebody, see how you can help them, you know. Overanalyzation. I have agents who overanalyze everything because I was an overanalyzer, you know. So stop overanalyzing, just get in front of somebody.
Excellent. So I know that, you know, in something like this, especially where you're able to create your own hours, how do you manage the work-life balance? How do you separate the two, or do you separate the two? You know, as a parent, you're trying to fit in, you know, kids' schedules and, you know, spend time with them, but also, you know, get your work done that needs to get done. And I know a lot of, like we spoke about before, you know, with COVID, a lot of people had to work from home and there was no separation. So, you know, in a normal time period where, you know, we're not working next to our children while they're, you know, doing schoolwork on Zoom, how would you separate your work and life?
So I'm a little bit different than a lot of people because I didn't have a family up until last year. I acquired one instantly. They poof, they're here. So when it was just me, I would work 24/7 because I had nothing else that I thought was better to do, you know, like unless I'm on a cruise or on vacation, I would prefer to be doing work, you know. That was just me. I was a workaholic and I was trying to get free of my day job, you know. And then when I quit my day job, I was trying to stay self-employed, to, you know, so I worked all the time at the time. When I met my now boyfriend and his daughter, I set aside time for them, and it was important for us to build our relationship of, okay, at 5 o'clock on Fridays is quitting time. I'm gonna put the phone away. I'm not going to answer everybody's questions on Facebook. I'm going to put the phone away, you know, and have dinner with you. You know, we have a no phone during dinner time rule, right?
That's a great rule.
Yeah. Well, the 8-year-old would try to sit there and watch YouTube. They mimic what you do, right?
Yeah.
So if I texted on my phone, she'd be like, well, where's my phone? Why can't I have my phone if you're on your phone, right? And
Yep.
so I was like, all right, no phones. Nobody's allowed to use their phone during dinner. How about that?
Yep.
And then Saturday, you know, especially on weekends that we had his daughter, we would do like a family activity, something fun with her, right? And then when she goes to bed, I can work if I still have work to do, you know, on Sunday evening. So I normally still work after when she's in bed or when she's sitting here watching, you know, her Disney movie. But making sure you set aside time, and I only have her part-time, but making sure I set aside time that is just focused, you know.
Right.
A lot of times I talk to parents and one of my friends, he was like, make sure when you're with somebody, you're with them. You're not just present, right?
Right.
Be present where you're at. Because a lot of people try to multitask and they're not really doing a good job of doing both. Like somebody's
Even if they
feeling
think they are.
right, right. So I don't really can give you advice on how to be a full-time parent because I'm not. But I'm a part-time parent. I think I do a pretty good job of on the weekends, like 5 o'clock Friday when she comes running through the door, shut it down until she goes to bed. If I still have to do some emails, you know, I try to be around when she's here and bouncing off the walls.
Yeah.
So,
I've heard
yeah.
a lot of time blocking has been a big answer to that question, you know, in previous videos like this. So I know a lot of people really try to time block. And it's really helpful in prospecting too, to time block your day for work. Um, you know, from 9 to 12, make
Yep.
those phone calls, from 2 to 3, send the emails,
Yep.
you know, and it obviously it doesn't have to be every day that you're, you know, following that particular schedule, but time blocking helps a lot. I was told once that I needed to try time blocking my home life too. And I'm like, I have 3 kids. What am I gonna tell my 4-year-old? No, you can't go to the bathroom right now. It's not time yet.
Right.
We're playing, dang it, you know? I do try to set aside, you know, okay, this time is for homework. And, you know, from this time to this time is, you know, cooking and eating. And then after that, you can do whatever. But, you know, life happens. And
Yeah,
more
certainly does.
often than not, my life does not go according to any kind of schedule I try to put it on. So, you know, time blocking your home life is really difficult, at least for me. You know, some
Right.
people say it's, you know, it's revolutionary for them, but it just doesn't. And a
So
lot of
I
people
think
are
it's
like that.
easier. I think it's easier with certain tasks like email. I get probably 80 emails before noon, right?
Mm-hmm.
But if I sit here and do emails all day, I'll never get anything else done,
Exactly.
right? And so I try to make my emails from 9 to 11 and make sure all the fires are put out, right?
Yep.
And then I don't touch emails again until after my phone calls are done. Because if I answer every email that comes in, I'm never going to have time to pick up that phone, you
Yep.
know? So I
It's
think
true.
time blocking works more better on things that are controllable. Like if someone sends you an email, it doesn't have to be responded to right then, right?
Right.
And some emails are just action emails. Like I get emails all day, you know, so and so was approved for a contract. Here's the new writing number. I don't have to read that right now. You know, that can wait until Monday.
Yeah.
You know, and it might not even be me who has to even read the email. I'm just CC'd on an email.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of times I see myself and other people, they get consumed in emails and stuff, and it doesn't even have to be attended to right then. So I think time blocking on reading the emails and reading the training and all those other items, time block that so you're not stuck doing it all day. Because I would be here literally all day doing emails if I didn't have anything, you know, other prospecting to do, you know,
Yeah.
because there's certainly enough emails to read all day.
Oh, they come in all day long. I've
Mhm.
heard I've heard even like, you know, a lot of people ask, what's your, you know, what's your first hour look like? when you come into your office, whether that's at home or, in an office building. But what do you do for your first hour? And someone responded to that question. I saw they responded, I will not look at my emails, because they go in there, they open up their emails, and then, 2 hours has passed and they didn't even realize it.
Yeah.
Because you get pulled in and you can't break away from it to, to go to something else. So I've even heard it to that extreme. Just don't even look at it until
start dialing.
Yep. So, all right, we're going to wrap it up. So is there any last piece of advice for, Medicare agents, whether they're, experts in the field or brand new? Any last piece of advice for them?
Just go see the people, we were talking about earlier, being consistent. If something's not working, if you couldn't figure out COVID because you used to do seminars, find a new system and just do it. I mean, most I said agents saying, well, I'm a seminar agent and I can't do that. So I can't do anything. Why can't you? You know how to do your job, just transition. Transition to the phone, transition to Zoom, transition to standing 6 feet away. There's different ways to do everything. So just see the people, because there's 10,000 people a day plus. I mean, there's 10,000 seniors, but people don't realize there's so many people getting approved for disability every day that need our help as well. So just go see the people. If you go see the people and help other people get what they need, everything will work out and you'll get everything you need. That's Zig Ziglar, right?
Yep. All right, Joanna, give us a way to get in touch with you.
My phone number is 678-823-5365. Send a text first. Joanna at Nation Care Services with an S at the end.com, or I run Medicare Mentors. If you are a Medicare agent, you're welcome to join our group.
Awesome.
On Facebook.
All right, Medicare agents, now that you know how prospecting can help, build your business more, go take a look at ProspectBoss.com and then go check out Joanna Wyckoff.
Thank you.